Hey guys, welcome back to our channel GLITCHEDVELO. I'm your host Wazahat, and today in this video, I'm gonna show you how to compile your CopperCube game using C++ source code that comes with the Studio edition of CopperCube game engine with the help of Microsoft Visual Studio 2019. I'm assuming that you already know how to install Visual Studio in your computer, and if you don't know, you can watch tutorials on YouTube. There are many tutorials available. Before starting the video, I want you to download something, and that is Microsoft Directx Sdk. And in order to download it, you can go to your browser and search for DX SDK installer, which will lead you to the Microsoft official website. You can go ahead and click this link here and then download Microsoft Directx Software Development Kit. But I'm going to download it via GitHub repository, which is API trace Directx Sdk. So I will put the link to the repository in the description down below. All you have to do is go to that link and simply click this code button here and download the file as JPEG. I have already downloaded it on my desktop, so I'm not going to download it again. So once you have downloaded it, it will come to your directory where you have downloaded it. I have downloaded it on my desktop, so you can see dxsdkmaster.zip, and I also have this source file of the client of CopperCube game. So we have the source file here, we have Directx Sdk tools here, and first we are going to extract this source file by going in here and extract to src, which is short form for source. And then we have our Visual Studio solution in this Win32 player folder. So if I navigate to this folder, then we can see Win32 player vs 2017 64-bit.solution file here. And we also have Win32 player vs 2017 64-bit VCX project file. You can open any of these, whatever you want. So I'm gonna open solution file by double clicking it, and it will open in my Microsoft Visual Studio. And the first window that I am getting is retargeting the projects to the latest Windows SDK version, and which is 10 in my case. It can be something else in your case if you have latest, or if depending on your Visual Studio version or the version Windows SDK version that you have installed in your computer. For me, it is version 10. It can be something different for you. And we have to do nothing here. We have to click this OK button. And once you click this OK button, then you will see that your project is ready to compile. And it is saying something retargeting and to completed, 0 failed, 0 skipped. And if I compile this right now by clicking this local Windows debugger here, which is building the project, used to build the project. So if I click this, it will start building the project, and it will take a lot of amount of time. It will take a lot of time to build the project, and it will show some errors to us. And these errors occurs due to missing Directx Sdk tools and wrong std.int.h file. So we have to fix that, and I think I have to fast forward this video a bit so that you will see the errors. But let me just show you what are the errors. So if you go to my Discord channel and if you go to this troubleshooting channel, then I have already posted a thread here which shows what errors you might face when compiling the source code and how to fix them. So you go to troubleshooting section, and this is the post, and I think I have already pinned it. No, let me just pin it down. So I'm pinning the post so that you can check it in the pinned post. So the basic error that you will see in your game, or the compilation error, is error C2065, which looks like this: ptr_diff_max. Undeclared identifier in /lib project. And then second error, C1083, cannot open include file name, no such file or directory in /lib project. Then we have third error, which is a link error. So error 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙗 cannot open file source 𝘭𝙤𝙬 debug 𝘭𝙤𝙬.lib in Win32 player project. And in order to fix all these issues, what you have to do is you have to, in order to fix this C2065 error, you need to rename this, go to rename or remove stdint.h file from your project. So go to source and then go to source again, then go to 𝘭𝙤𝙬 and then go to a simp folder and then go to IRR extension. Then you will see stdint.h file. You can delete it or rename it. I'm gonna delete it. You can also delete those files from the Project Explorer or Solution Explorer here, but I prefer to do it manually by going into the directories. So I have deleted this stdint.h file from my project folder, and then I'm gonna extract this Directx Sdk master, which is our Directx Sdk tools. So I'm gonna extract it to a folder. We have this folder here, which will have these folders and files. The only files we need are located in this include folder. So we have to open it. Then we have these header files. So .h is equal. So we have this error, some errors in our project building. So there were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful bit? So all you have to do is click this no button here. Then you will see we have these 7 or 8 errors. So these errors are like d3dx9 text.h, no such file or directory, because we haven't included all these Directx Sdk files in our project. So what we have to do is simply copy these files and then go to source and /lib, then this include folder. In this include folder, you have to paste all the files that you have copied from the Directx Sdk include directory. And now go back to your project, and do you see this link 1104 error? Cannot open file, see users and username, desktop, source /lib debug /lib.lib. And this error occurs whenever there is some mistakes or there is some error which is preventing this /lib project to compile. So it has nothing to do with all of these issues. So this occurs if you have no Directx Sdk installs. So if you have installed the Directx Sdk in your project, then it will fix this issue. So if I compile the project now, it will build or compile the game successfully, because we have already removed the stdint.h file, and we have also installed, or we have also included our Directx Sdk files in our project. So I'm gonna delete this Directx Sdk master folder because we don't need it anymore. And let's just wait for the compilation of this project. And if you still are not able to understand what I'm saying, then you can, so as you can see, we have our project running, and this project has been compiled by C++ source code. So you can see it has a cube with white skybox, and this looks like a project of CopperCube 5.0 or CopperCube 5, because in CopperCube 6 we don't have these, we don't have this cube texture. We have a new cube texture, and let me just show you something else. So now what if we have compiled successfully? Now how to run it without actually compiling it again? So in order to do that, you have to go back to your source folder. Let me just close all these. Go to your source folder or the project folder. Go to Win32 player here. And as we have compiled it as a debug project, you can see we have debug solution here. So all the files or the Win32 player will be in this debug folder here. In your Win32 player folder, there is this debug folder here. And if I run this win32player.exe file, then it will throw another error that the code execution cannot proceed because 𝐼RR_clang.dll was not found. Reinstalling the program may fix this problem. And we are not going to reinstall it. So just come back and look for 𝐼RR_clang.dll and simply copy this in the debug folder, and it will fix the issue. So if I double click this win32player.exe, it will open the player. But as you can see, we have a black screen with no project file or no object in our game or in our player. So what we have to do is simply close this, and all you have to do is create a project, CopperCube project. So I'm going to create a CopperCube project by simply saving it as test.ccb. You have to use test.ccb, and as you can see, I have already saved it on my desktop as test.ccb, and now I'm gonna move it to win32 player debug folder. So you have to copy paste this test.ccb in this folder here, in the debug folder here, and then all you have to do is double click this win32 player.exe, and it will now open your CopperCube project that you have put in here as test.ccb. So suppose if I open this project and I add an animated mesh here, and if I save the project and if I close it, and now if I run win32player.exe, it will load that project. So this is how you can compile your CopperCube game using C++ source code. And many people have misconception that this source code is for the game client only, but it is actually the source code of the engine. In C++ source code of your client, you are getting the engine code, including all the behaviors, all the extensions of CopperCube, but you will not get any editor code. So you won't get the code for the editor or the UI part of the editor, but you will get the core functions or the engine source like physics. CopperCube uses bullet physics library, so you will get the physics library, you will get the SpiderMonkey JavaScript libraries, you will get 𝘿𝙤 libraries, and CopperCube uses its own sound engine, which is 𝘿𝙤𝙬𝙘, and it uses curl for networking and other stuff. Then we have cBullet body, cBullet physics simulation. Then we have some actions like change scene node position, change scene node position.header file, change scene node rotation, change scene node scale, change scene node texture, clone a scene node. And then we will have some behaviors as well. Behaviors are named as animator. So we have these animator extension script, animator fly circle, animator fly straight, animator follow path, animator on click, animator on mouse, animator rigid body physics, and many more extensions and all other infos. And you will have these win32 player libraries or files here, like Oculus Rift support and the DLLs and Steam support and many more. I have already created extended some scripting API, and if you see that we have the source modified folder here. So let me just open it. I have already modified the source for extending the JavaScript API, and I'm going to show you how you can extend the game engine and help creating new features or functions for the game engine and help in the development of CopperCube game engine. Although we can't add these to the editor directly, but we can send the modified files to the developer and ask him to include them in the editor. So I have already created some scripting API, and I'm going to show you what are they. So I have this test.ccb file here, and as you can see, it loaded with the old CopperCube 5 texture for cube mesh, and we are not worried about that. So we have this cube mesh and we have some new 3D scene here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a behavior to this new 3D scene here. When a key is pressed F, and then I'm going to execute a JavaScript. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to changing my mouse position. So if I write CCB set mouse pose, and if I supply the X and Y coordinates for my mouse position, like 100, 100, then it is going to set my mouse position at 100 on the Y-axis and 100 on the X-axis of my game window. So I'm going to simply save it. Whenever I press F, this will be going to, let me just copy this to my debug folder here. So if I paste it here, I already have a test.ccb file, but as I have made changes to that file, I have to copy this here. And if I run this file by clicking win32player.exe, then you will see it loads the project. And if I press F, then you will notice that it will rotate in a circle or something like that. So if I press F, then it is rotating because we have a fixed FPS camera that is locking the cursor position to the center. So as soon as the cursor reaches to 100 by 100 on X and Y, it again switches back to the center. So it is rotating the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the project again, and I'm going to simply add a new camera here, which is third person camera, and let it follow cube mesh and save it. And now if I test the application, so I can move my mouse around, you can see my mouse cursor. And if I press F, then the mouse cursor should position itself on the Y 100 and X 100, something like here, whenever I press F key. So if I press F now, then you will notice that my mouse cursor has already changed its position to that position here. If I press F again, then it will move back towards this position. If I change the window position here and my mouse cursor is here, and if I press F, then it will automatically move to the X100 and Y100 position here. So it doesn't matter wherever my mouse is, it will always move to the 100 by 100 position on the window here, game window here. And this is how I extended the source of the game engine by implementing my own custom API, JavaScript API. And if you try to use it in the current version that you have, that hasn't this API, then you will get an error. So let me just show you how you will get an error. So as you know, I already have this behavior attached when a key is pressed to something. So if I test the application through this editor, if I go to tools and test as Windows application, and now if I press F, then it will throw me an error, that reference error CCB set mouse pose is not defined. So it is throwing me an error instead of changing my mouse position to the desired location on the screen. So it won't work with the default or not updated CopperCube editor, the CopperCube editor which don't have this API, but it will work with a C++ source code that you have used for compiling your game. So if I press F, it will move the mouse to the X and Y position at 100. So this is how you can extend the JavaScript API or the game engine. There is also some more code, like if you go to 𝘿𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙘, then there are some source files like bullet info, built-in font, and 3D mesh file loader, animated mesh, MD2 file, and attributes file, all the other things. You have cube scene node, you have direct 3D 8 driver and material renderer, everything that the game engine needs to render the game or to play the game correctly. All the files are included in there. But CopperCube uses a different, or you can say a modified version of 𝘿𝙤𝙬𝙗 game engine. If you want to add things from the 𝘿𝙤𝙬𝙗 engine in your CopperCube game, then you have to modify it with you have to modify it according to the current CopperCube API or to the current modified version of the 𝘿𝙤𝙬𝙗 engine that CopperCube uses. You can't mix up or simply copy paste 𝘿𝙤𝙬𝙗 engine from version 1.8 into this directory, and if you do that, it will throw hundreds of errors in your CopperCube in your Visual Studio project, and you won't be able to compile it successfully. So if you want to make changes to this engine, then you have to be a good C++ programmer. As I'm not a C++ programmer, I can't do everything by my own, but I am trying to do my best in order to extend the engine or in order to update the engine with whatever I can give to this community. So we have Spider Monkey and we have Bullet Body and everything else. So I hope this video clears the misconception that you won't get the source code for the engine. So I hope, yeah, the misconception has been cleared right now, that you will get the source code of the engine, but you won't get anything that is related to the graphical user interface of the editor. Like you won't get any data for plugins, inbuilt plugins. You won't get any data for editor APIs like we have in here in our JavaScript API. Let me just show you. If I go to tutorials and JavaScript scripting reference, so you won't get these commands or these APIs. You won't get these APIs in your source code. So you won't have these editor add scene node, editor focus position, editor get file name from dialog, editor get selected scene node. These will be missing in the source file, but you will get all these other APIs like CCB end program, CCB load texture, CCB get mouse position X, CCB get mouse position Y. So these API will be included in the source, but anything that is related to the editor will be missing in the source file. So it is actually open sourcing the project without actually open sourcing it. So you will have the game engine source code, but you won't get any source code of the editor part. So yeah, that's it. That's for today's video. I hope you are now clear about the misconception that what you will get in the Studio Edition and how you can improve the game engine or the editor by sending the modified files or whatever you add to this engine to the developer and ask him to update the game engine. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can get many things out of the Studio Edition, and I highly recommend to purchase the licensed version if you are a C++ programmer and want to update this engine and want to use this engine. And yeah, that's for today's videos. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel. If you want, you can join the Discord server. All the links will be in the description down below. And if you want to support me, then you can purchase the Studio Edition or Professional Edition through my affiliated links. You will get the links for the purchase of licensed version of CopperCube in the description down below. Have a good day. Bye bye. Hasta la vista.